हेलो हाँ चल रहा है हेलो कैन ऑल ऑफ यू हियर मी दे रहा हूँ हेलो 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 कैन ऑल ऑफ यू हियर मी Okay, great. Sorry for the inconvenience. I'm facing some internet issues, so that's why there's some issue. Anyways, so let's start with the class. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the class. Thank you, everyone, for coming. The topic that we will be discussing today is business ethics. Right. So, can all of you see the PPT I have uploaded on the whiteboard? Can all of you see the PPT? You can reply to me in the chat box. Okay, Sandeep says yes. What about others? Okay, Prabha says yes. Kelvin says yes. Okay. So, see, business ethics is also known as corporate ethics, right? We can say that it is a form of applied ethics or professional ethics, right? Which examines the ethical principles and moral or ethical values which comes in a business environment, right, or in a office environment. We can say that it applies to all aspects of business conduct and is relevant to the conduct of individuals and entire organization. Right, so this is the basic background of business ethics. So today we will see the various aspects of business ethics, and then we will do one case study based on business ethics. Right, and then we will see I think the importance. One second. Yes. And then we will see the importance of business ethics at workplace. So let's start. One second. This is the PDF file. Okay, so what can be achieved with the help of business ethics? It is about decision making by people in business according to moral values or moral principles or values, right? So we can say that it also helps in making an effective decision making process. Next slide. Okay. Decision making. Ethical decision making involves the ability to separate right from wrong along with the commitment to do what is right. Some factors affecting decision making includes issue intensity, which means that how important does the decision making perceive the issue to be. Next, can be influenced by company or management emphasis. Decision makers' personal moral philosophy involves systematizing, defending, and recommending concepts of right and wrong behavior, which also includes organizational culture. Right now, business, with the help of business ethics principles, right, we can segregate between what is right and wrong at the workplace, right? So we can say that it is a process which helps us to make quick decisions at workplace, right, keeping the ethical principles in mind, right? That is why you can see it is written over here. Concepts of right and wrong behavior. Next point. Eight steps to sound ethical decision making. Now let's see the 8 steps. First step, gather as many relevant and material facts as circumstances permit. Now see, at workplace there are two kinds of situation. When a situation arises, right, a person who is either sitting in a management or sitting as a manager, he can react to the situation in two ways. One way, he can speak his heart out, right, of what he feels is right or wrong, right. Another kind of person is the one who always speaks or gives his recommendations based on the facts he has, right, or based on the proofs that he has, right, so that no such situation arises where his teammates or his colleagues or his seniors or the top management always cross questions him, right. So which one according to you is correct? First one or second one? That is what they are trying to say in the first point, first step. Gather as many relevant and material facts as circumstances permit. Which one is better? Prabhat is first one. Why? To speak your heart out. No, there is a problem. See, if you speak your heart out, that is okay. But sometimes circumstances arises where the person who is in front of you can ask you for a proof, or can ask you for a paper to prove your point. Then what will you do? Right. So it is always recommended to keep all the facts right in the form of emails or in the form of papers along with you, so that in future if anyone questions your actions, right, then you have a valid proof along with yourself, which you can put on the table, right, to prove yourself right. That is what they are trying to say over here. Gather as many relevant and material facts as circumstances permit. Clear, everyone? Asiya, Prabha, Dijesh, Kelvin, Rezi, Sandeep, Spehr, Ramakrishnan. Next point. Identify the relevant ethical issues. Consider alternate viewpoints. Right now, suppose if you are a manager, right, or if you are leading a team, or right, or holding a higher position in the management, right. Now it is a very common scenario that certain kind of issues nowadays, we need everything in writing. Cannot trust on any oral communication. Yes, that's the point that I am trying to make. Now see, what happens in oral communication, right? You trust a person, right, who is speaking in oral. Right now, there are at times situation arises in an organization, right? Now see, everyone is competing with each other, right, nowadays. So there is a very big chance that they might not agree in future that they have said this thing, right, when you make them remember that you have said that thing at that time in the past, right, to prove you wrong, or right, in front of the management, right, or trying to gain advantage out of you, right. So it is always recommended to have everything in written, all the communications to be made in written, right, so that both the parties have a proof, right, so that when in future if such things are discussed, then you have a valid proof. Getting what is Prabha? Okay. Okay, so I was discussing the second point. Identify the relevant ethical issues. Consider alternative viewpoints. So what I was saying is that suppose if you are at a managerial position or a team lead or holding a higher position in a management. Now, I was saying that it is quite a common theme that you came up with issues which you have to resolve on day-to-day basis, right? Now there are certain ways in which you can deal with a situation or an issue. One way is that whatever is there in your mind, you will do that. Another way is that you will discuss it with the team with whom the issue is related to, or you will try to get the viewpoint of all the concerned parties and then try to come to a conclusion, because there is a very big possibility that there are some viewpoints of which you are not aware of, right, or after knowing those things, there is a very big possibility that your viewpoint changes, right. So a good manager is one who has these kind of ethical values. First, to get the viewpoint of all the concerned parties, right? And then come to a conclusion, right? So a, a good person is one who should always keep both their arms open, right, for ideas to flow in, right? And also there is no harm in discussing the issues with even with your juniors. There are some managers who are very arrogant or very egoistic. They will think that I am the manager. Why should I go to my junior or my colleague to ask them? For whatever thoughts are there in my mind is correct. I will take that decision. That is wrong, right? So ethics at workplace say that first get the view of all the concerned teams or parties, right? If you get a chance, you can discuss it with your colleagues, with your juniors, and then come to a conclusion. That is what point 2 is trying to say. How many of you does that thing? First discuss it with your teammates or colleagues and then comes to a decision. No one? Yes or no? Rarely. The attitude comes, oh, I am Ms. Prabha, why should I go to others? I am Dinesh, I am the manager, why, why should I go to them? Am I right or wrong? It will come always, yes. It is a human nature. See, but the greatness of a person is tested only at that moment, right? That is the difference between a normal employee and a person who are sitting at a top position, right? It is practically not possible for a person who is sitting at a top position to know what you are doing, what your teammates are doing, right? Who are sitting at a lower position, right? So it's good to take the uh, to discuss it with all the parties, right? And also, if you see that in the other way, it will increase your respect among your teammates, among your juniors, among your management. There is no harm in that. I can't see any harm in that. If anyone feels that their reputation will go down if they go and ask them, they are wrong. If they go and ask them, their reputation will go up, because 90% of the managers are doing that thing. If you are among those 10% who are doing it differently, then everyone will talk about you, that oh, you are a different sort of a manager who always comes and discuss the things before taking a decision, right? Or there are some very good managers who will come and explain the reason for the decision they have taken, why they have taken the decision, under what all circumstances they have taken the decision. That is one step further, right? I am working in a company where my manager is like that, right? Or the CEO of the company in which I am working, the CEO lives in US, but whenever he comes to India, right? He always goes in all the department and shakes the hand and asks them what's going on, guys, any problems. I love this kind of attitude, right? So it means that it's showing that the company cares for their employees instead of exploiting the employees, right? So these are some very good ethical what to say, actions which everyone should follow. Am I right or wrong, everyone? Prabha says right, thank God. Asya, what about you? Ramakrishnan says right, Rezi says right, Vijesh says right, okay, thank you. Who feels I am wrong? Is there still anyone who feels I am wrong? There is no harm, I won't mind if you say I am wrong. Anyways, this is about the second point. Let's discuss the third point. Identify, weigh and prioritize all the affected parties. That is the stakeholders. Right? That is what they are trying to say, what I have just said. Identify, weigh and prioritize all the affected parties. You have to keep the things in priority. Whom do you want to deal first, right? How much interaction is required with which department, right? Fourth point, identify your existing commitments or obligations, right? Before all these which I am speaking, these are work ethics, right? Which is a part of decision making or business ethics, you can say. Identify your existing commitments. What are your commitments towards your workplace, right? You should, before leaving for office every day, there should be a plan in your mind. What will you be going to do throughout the day, right? Which work comes in first priority, second priority, right? And by the end of the day, what is your target? How much work you are trying to finish, right? That is why you have seen most of the time that people who are sitting at a higher position, they always have one diary with them, right, where they note down all the points they have to do in the day, right? I have seen it with many people who are sitting at a higher position. They always carry one notebook or diary with them, right, where they note down the stuffs which they want to finish it in that particular day, right? So that is a good ethical action. How many of you have this habit of noting down notes on phone or sticky notes on laptop? I always used to keep sticky notes on laptop, the pending works, right, or the work on my target for the day, right? So all of us should adopt to these things. Clear, everyone? Clear? Asya, Prabha, Dijesh, Kelvin, Rezi, Seher, Ramakrishnan, Sanobar. Okay. Fifth point. Identify various course of action. Dare to think creativity. Now, there is a term which is called out-of-box thinking. What do we mean by that? There's a very popular technical term, out-of-box thinking. Alternative. Yes, very good. Now, see, there are some people who will follow the rules which are written in the book, right? Or the policies which are written in the book which they have studied, right? Other types of people are those who will try to find out some alternative which is not written anywhere, right? Something new, right? Which is much better than what is written in the book, right? That is what is called creativity. Creativity of a mind is, right? That is how to judge the creativity of a mind, right? To find the new way which is not thought of or written anywhere. That is what we used to call it a creativity. That is what they have written over here. Dare to think creativity, right? Identify various courses of action. Right now, we all have a habit of taking the action in a particular situation, either which we have seen through our seniors, right, or our previous managers who used to take action, right? We will take the action in the similar way, right? Other sorts of managers are those who will think of a new solution which neither came to the mind of our managers or no one has seen or spoken of. Getting it? So one should always have that kind of habit or that sort of thinking where we are ready to think for a different course of action. Right now, there are sometimes what happens is it will save lot of your efficiency or your team efficiency, save the cost of your company, save your time, your company's time, right? Right. So there is a scope of improvement, right? One should keep always the scope of improvement in whatever we do, right? So we have seen that nowadays most of the successful people, right, who are successful, they are having this capability to a very big extent, right? For example, see Narendra Modi, who is the Prime Minister of India. He has such a beautiful way of expressing his thoughts, right, with so much transparency, right? He brings down so much creativity through his words, right? Which like yesterday I was listening to one of his speeches, which he was giving at one of the environment or science science function. Right now, if you compare his speech with all the previous prime ministers' speeches, other prime ministers used to come and read the points written on a piece of paper in so much protocol, right, in a dignified manner. But he was speaking his heart out yesterday, right? Like one suggestion he was giving yesterday. One experience he has felt that for the farmers, right? The farmers, bananas, unripe bananas, right? So the middle part of that wood which is left after all the bananas are taken off, right? Now in that wood there is so much of water available that farmers used to cut that wood, right, and put that wood in the ground where they want to do the harvesting, right? So the ground takes the water from that wood only. Getting my point? So all these are out of box thinking ideas, right? So we try to motivate everyone to follow these out of box thinking solutions. Clear? Any doubts? Okay. Let's come to the case study first, then we will continue with the theory, because otherwise it will get a bit boring. Can all of you see the case study? Yes or no? Hello? Hello? Can all of you see the case study? Jerry Johnson. Oh no. It's there on the whiteboard with the heading Jerry Johnson Business Ethics Case Study. Prabha says yes. It's loading. Oh God. Let me know once it gets loaded. Can you see now? XYZ, a fabricator of heat exchangers for petroleum and chemical companies. Can you see now? Everyone? Dijesh, can you see? Okay, let's start. Let's read this case study together. Now, XYZ, a fabricator of heat exchangers for petroleum and chemical companies, is a 35-year-old corporation that is financially sound. It means that it has a lot of money with them. Right? Now, the company has taken careful steps over the years to manage the cyclical nature of the petroleum industry by effectively managing its workforce and financials. A recent ethical dilemma occurred as a result of the new OSHA standard requiring fabricators of alloy metals to become compliant with 29 CFR 190, the chromium 6 standard. Right, so this is some standard which they follow. This is the standard number. Right, so this is a company XYZ, right, who is financially very sound, right. Recently the company has taken some steps for managing their cyclical nature of petroleum industry by effectively managing its workforce and financials, right. The company quickly started investigating the new standard as soon as it was made aware of the standard, right. So the company came to know about this standard which they need to adopt, right. So they start the procedure for implementing this standard. The company quickly started investigating the new standard as soon as it was made aware of the standard. The use of outside consultants and the hiring of an internal safety coordination were the initial steps taken by the company to become compliant with the regulations. Right, so they took the help of outside consultants and hired some of the internal safety coordinators, right, for making them follow up with all the rules and regulations which was there in that standard, mentioned in that standard. The dilemmas are presented and reviewed using different approaches such as the utilitarian and deontological concept of evaluating ethics in this situation. The general moral analysis steps were used in arriving the result and decision. Clear so far, everyone? Okay. Now, a company that fabricates heat exchangers shall be called XYZ for the purposes of not exposing it to an unwarranted audit. They became aware in 2007 through an association membership meeting that the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, which is called OSHA, had enacted a new standard. Right, so this OSHA standard have to be followed by all such type of companies, right, who are into the business of heat exchangers. Right, not till 2007 they have not even bothered of having any sort of audit. Right, so that is what they have written over here. For the purposes of not exposing it to unwarranted audit, they became so in 2007 they became aware that we have to follow these standards, otherwise it will be a problem for them. And enacted a new standard. This new standard, which was started by this OSHA called Chromium 6, established a new action level for hexavalent chromium that affected all fabricators of alloy metals. The company soon afterwards contacted their outside safety consultants in whom they entrusted their safety program and asked about the specifics of the new standard. Right, so they hired some outside consultants and tried to take their advice. It is important to note that the outside consultants also represented other metal fabricators who made a heat exchanger. The consultant group began looking further into the new requirement on behalf of their clients. Unfortunately, for the next year, there was very little education or direction from the outside consultants and very little communication regarding the health issues and enforcement penalties that could occur. It found non-compliant by OSHA. They also were lacking in providing timely industrial hygiene monitoring. Right? There was monitoring which was required, but they were lacking in that. Now let's see what happened in 2008. In May of 2008, XYZ hired an internal safety coordinator who also shared duties in quality inspection. One of the first projects assigned to the safety coordinator was to investigate the new Chromium 6 standard and provide direction on how to apply. The safety coordinator had extensive safety experience in other industries, which allowed him the capability to approach this new learning experience with a satisfactory background. There were several ethical dilemmas that had to be thought through. At times, the safety coordinator fell into the trap of truncated utilitarianism and had to come back to deontological thinking on this matter. Conversations on the subject included presenting facts as well as the morality of the situation with shop management and upper management, right? So they have to align all their ethics with the shop management and upper management. Right? The safety coordinator had to convince all the decision makers of the moral need to comply with fully with the standard, right? So it needs to make them fully aware of the standard. Clear? Okay, next is paragraph. To understand the importance of the issue, an explanation of Chromium 6 is necessary to relay the ethical reasoning of the new OSHA standard. Chromium 6 is a standard, right? Chromium 6 was identified as a carcinogen by the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health, which is a higher body than OSHA, NIOSH. In March of 2006, OSHA lowered the permissible exposure limit to an action level of 2.5 mg per meter cube and a cap of 5 mg per meter cube calculated as an 8-hour time weighted average. This is approximately a tenth of the old rule found in this old standard. Right. Therefore, business of the seriousness of the new regulation, it became necessary to evaluate the outside consultants and their ability to help this organization XYZ to be compliant because of XYZ's continued lack of direction and information. It was advised by the safety coordinator to discontinue using XYZ's current outside consultant with whom they have been there for years due to lack of technical knowledge and other concerns. It was also recommended that they search for a consultant with more applicable professional experience to help the company act in good faith and adhere to the new standard. The outside consulting company was eventually replaced. Right, so now they came to know that the company with whom they are taking the recommendation, the outside consultant, is not working for them. Right, so finally they have made the decision to replace them. XYZ began searching for another outside consultant who had a background and knowledge in the welding industry. Shortly thereafter, they found a consultant with a PhD degree that was an industry expert with substantial welding background and knowledge of the Chromium 6 standard. Right, so they have hired a new outside consultant. XYZ conducted informal surveys of other companies in Tulsa as ascertain where they were with the Chromium 6 standard. So they did some dummy surveys, right? These companies fell into three categories. They never tried to become compliant with. They tried but gave up. Clear so far? Right, we will. The class is coming to an end. Right. What we will do, we will continue with this case study tomorrow. Right. We will continue with page 4 because it's a big case study. So it will take some time to finish. And you also are tired because you have taken few classes before my class. Clear? Is that fine? Right, so we will continue with it tomorrow. Fine, everyone? Ramakrishnan, fine? Kalyan? Okay, so good night, everyone. Take care. See you tomorrow. And sorry for the inconvenience in the beginning. Bye-bye.